There comes a time in every man's life when he must face a hard truth. Not everyone who once welcomed you with warmth will continue to do so. And it stings, I know it does. That unanswered text, the last minute canceled plans, the way her tone changed when she said, "Hey." It's subtle, but your spirit catches it. That gut feeling you get when someone begins to avoid you. It's not paranoia. It's your soul whispering a truth your heart isn't ready to accept. But I want to tell you this, my brother. When someone starts avoiding you, do not disturb them. Not because you're weak, not because you've lost value, but because you've grown strong enough to honor yourself. You were not created to beg for affection or chase fading shadows. You were made in the image of purpose. And purpose doesn't beg, it moves forward. You might feel rejected, confused, or even angry, but listen closely. Sometimes God closes a door not to punish you, but to protect you from someone who couldn't see your worth. Not everyone is meant to stay. Some people are lessons, not lifelines. So today, we're going to talk about what it really means to step back with dignity, to protect your peace, and to understand that silence isn't weakness, it's power. Let's walk this journey together. You're not alone, you know. One of the hardest things to experience is rejection. That moment when someone you cared about suddenly stops answering, stops showing up, stops seeing your worth. It's painful. It can feel like the ground underneath you is cracking. Your mind begins to race. What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? But I want to encourage you today. What feels like rejection is often redirection. It's not always about you doing something wrong. It's often about God doing something right. You see, rejection is not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that something better is ahead. We don't always see it in the moment because we're focused on what we lost. But God sees what's ahead, what you're being spared from. That closed door, it may be the very thing protecting your future peace. Don't let temporary absence make you question your permanent value. Sometimes we chase people God has already released. We text, we call, we try to make sense of it. But what you don't realize is that God heard conversations behind your back you never did. He saw attitudes that hadn't yet surfaced. He knew what was coming, and he removed them before they could wound you deeper. Think about this. What if rejection is not an ending but a divine pause, a pivot point, a sacred redirection toward the kind of love, friendship, or opportunity that can nourish your soul, not deplete it? You weren't created to settle for half-hearted attention or conditional love. You were made for wholeness. And sometimes rejection is just heaven's way of shaking the dust off what's fake so you can walk into what's real. So the next time you feel avoided, the next time that message goes unread or that energy shifts, I want you to pause and breathe, not panic. Don't chase, don't beg, don't devalue you yourself for someone else's absence. Instead, lift your head, square your shoulders, and say this out loud. God, I trust you. If this door is closed, I believe you've got one better. I won't fear the rejection. I'll follow the redirection. Because you, my brother, are not ruined. You're being rerouted towards something sacred, something solid, something worthy of your heart. Let me ask you something. My friend, how many times have you poured your heart out, waited by your phone, replayed the last conversation over and over again, hoping they'd just see your worth? You kept trying, you were consistent, you showed up, and deep down you believed that if you just gave a little more of yourself, maybe, just maybe, they'd change. They'd appreciate you, they'd stay. But here's the truth. Peace doesn't begin when they respond. Peace begins when you stop needing them to. There is a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from hard work. It comes from emotional chasing. It comes from trying to keep something alive that's already slipping away. That's not love, my brother. That's survival mode. And you were never created to survive love. You were created to thrive in it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. When someone avoids you, it's easy to internalize the silence, to take it as a reflection of your worth. But silence doesn't always mean you've lost. It can mean you've been preserved. And real peace shows up the moment you stop overextending your heart to people who don't have the capacity to hold it. You have to know this. Your value does not increase with effort, and your peace does not depend on their response. When your spirit is constantly unsettled, constantly striving to prove, explain, or fix something, that's not love, that's torment. And God doesn't bless torment, He blesses truth. The moment you stop forcing a connection and surrender it to Him, peace starts to rise. Quietly, softly, but powerfully. It's not giving up, it's growing up. It's saying, I've done my part, I've shown my heart, but now I choose me, I choose rest. I choose to stop knocking on a door that's clearly closed, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Let me tell you something sacred. What is meant for you will bring peace, not confusion. What is real will feel safe, not forced. So step back today. Let your effort end, not because you're weak, but because your soul deserves to breathe. And in that stillness, peace will find you again. There's a moment, the painful, humbling moment, when you realize that no amount of words will change how someone feels about you. You've tried explaining, you've been vulnerable, you've said everything you could, but still the energy shifted. The distance grew, the replies got shorter, and now the silence feels like a wall. But I want to tell you something today, and I need you to hear it with your heart. Sometimes silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom, it's strength, it's healing. You don't have to respond to every cold message. You don't have to chase clarity from someone who clearly wants space. When someone begins to pull away, you don't need to scream to be heard. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. You see, silence doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've given it to God. There's power in stillness. Power in pulling your energy back. Power in choosing dignity over desperation. Silence allows space, not just for the other person to reflect, but for you to regroup, to recenter, to remember your worth apart from how someone treats you. Jesus himself often withdrew to quiet places to pray. He wasn't running away, he was resetting. There's a holy strength in that. And let me tell you, when you stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening, you start hearing yourself again. Your soul gets louder, your boundaries get clearer, your peace returns. I know it's hard. I know everything in you wants to send one more message, make one more call, prove one more point. But hear this. If they wanted to understand, they would. If they valued you, you'd feel it, not guess it. Silence is not empty. It's full of decisions, full of power, full of healing. And if you're sitting there today wondering if holding your peace makes you weak, it doesn't. It means you've matured beyond emotional chaos. It means you're no longer reacting from pain, you're responding from purpose. So breathe, stay still. Let your silence speak what your words can't, because the right people won't need you to shout to be seen. They'll feel your worth in your quiet, and so will you. Let me speak to your heart today. You are not for everyone, and that's okay. We live in a world that glorifies being available, reachable, and emotionally open 24/7. But I want you to understand something sacred. Not everyone deserves access to your heart, your energy, or your story. You were not created to be a revolving door for people to come and go as they please, bringing in their chaos, leaving with your peace. That's not connection, that's emotional robbery, and it has to stop. You are not being arrogant by protecting your space. You are being wise. Hi, Val. You men, and I'm talking to you. The man who's growing, healing, evolving. Don't hand out their attention like free samples. They move with intention. They know their time is expensive. Their love, their presence, their vulnerability. It's not something you stumble into. It's something you earn. You see, when you allow everyone full access to you, you teach them that your boundaries are negotiable, that your soul is a doormat, that you'll always be there even when they're inconsistent, disrespectful, or absent. But today I'm telling you, it's time to raise the gate, not out of bitterness, not out of ego, but out of self-respect. Because the truth is, not everyone has the maturity to handle who you're becoming, and that's no longer your burden to carry. Some people want the light you bring without respecting the fire it took to build it. Some want to sit at your table without contributing to the meal. But brother, this is the season where you stop making room for those who only show up when it's convenient for them. This is the season where access is earned, not assumed. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be cold. You just have to be clear. When someone shows you they're inconsistent, unavailable, or emotionally immature, believe them and adjust your access accordingly. Because every time you give full access to someone who hasn't earned it, you rob yourself of peace. And peace, my friend, is too precious to keep giving away. So tighten the circle, protect the throne, and remind yourself daily, my energy is valuable. Not everyone gets to touch it. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to what we think we need, not realizing that God is trying to empty our hands not to punish us, but to prepare us for something greater. I know what it feels like to be left, to have someone walk away without explanation, to be ghosted, avoided, or emotionally dropped. And the first reaction is always confusion. Why would God let this happen? Why would He take away someone I cared about? But here's a truth that changed my life. God doesn't just subtract, He multiplies after He removes. You see, what feels like loss is often a setup for expansion. When God sees that someone cannot grow with you, love you healthily, or meet you in the depth of your calling, He starts creating space, even if it hurts. Not because you're being punished, but because you're being positioned. That person you kept chasing for answers. God saw the cycles you couldn't break free from, the emotional roller coasters, the way you shrunk yourself just to keep them around. He saw that you were willing to settle for confusion, and He said, no more. My son deserves peace. Sometimes God removes what you think you want so He can give you what you truly need. That silence you're sitting in, that loneliness, it's not abandonment. It's a clearing for real love, a clearing for clarity, a clearing for someone who doesn't hesitate when they see you, someone who says, I choose you, and means it. Let me ask you, would you rather have someone who's halfway in, or no one, so God can bring someone all the way in? Because God's blessings don't come wrapped in confusion. His love doesn't have you questioning your worth. The right relationships won't drain you, they'll develop you. So if someone has left your life, bless them. Release them and then open your heart to what's next. Because when God removes, it's always to make room. Say this with me, I trust you, Lord. If you took it, I don't need it. And if you're clearing space, I believe something beautiful is on the way. Keep the door open, not for them, but for him. Let me tell you something that every man needs to hear not once, but over and over again. You are not a puzzle to be figured out. You are the prize to be pursued. Too many good men are walking around with wounded hearts, second, guessing their worth because someone couldn't love them properly. You're caught in your head, trying to decode mixed signals, replaying every conversation, wondering what you could have done differently. But here's the truth, my brother. You're not too much. You're not too emotional. You're not hard to love. You've just been giving your loyalty to people who didn't have the capacity to receive it. You were never meant to be a guessing game. The right person won't make you question yourself. They won't make you shrink to keep the peace. They won't have you walking on eggshells, feeling like you have to earn every ounce of their attention. You were created by God with intentionality, and what He creates, He crowns with value. That means you don't need to prove your worth to anyone who makes you feel like a burden. Your vulnerability is not a flaw, it's a gift. Your consistency is not desperation. It's a reflection of your character. If someone avoids you, belittles your efforts, or keeps you in emotional limbo, let them go. Not out of anger, but out of understanding. I am not here to complete someone who hasn't completed themselves. You're not supposed to be a challenge they eventually decide to solve. You're supposed to be a blessing they clearly recognize. So shift your mindset. You're not the one waiting to be chosen. You are the one doing the choosing. Hold your head high. Walk in rooms knowing your value. Set boundaries with confidence. And never again let someone else's confusion shrink your certainty. Say this with me: I am not chasing, I am not begging, I am not bending who I am to be loved. I am the prize, and I walk like it. Because when you finally stop treating yourself like a problem, you'll attract someone who sees you as the answer.